Yeah,
I could be wrong, right?
it's definitely nice to see the sun in Erie. Now, my assignment, I'm writing a profile piece for a journalism course with Dr. Young, and I've been assigned to follow the environment throughout Erie for the semester. So I would love to ask you a couple questions about your work with the environment and a little bit about yourself as well, if that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. Now, I know that you helped found the Erie County Environment Coalition, and you have a really, really significant role with Earth Force. Is that still the correct name?
The correct name now is Earth Action. And Earth Action is actually a program that's part of another organization called Environment Erie.
Okay.
And Environment Erie is an organization that was formed just this December.
Oh, wow.
And it actually was a merger between Earth Force and, which was Earth Action. Actually, we were Earth Action by that time. So it was a merger between Earth Action and PLUA, the Pennsylvania Lake Erie Watershed Association.
Okay.
And both organizations had been partners in a number of grants over the years, and I was also one of the folks that was responsible for the formation of PLUA, along with people from Pennsylvania Sea Grant and the Erie County Environmental Coalition. Mm-hmm. So it was a group that was formed specifically look at restoration, protection, and education in the Lake Erie watershed.
Wow. Okay. And what has driven you to be so environmentally proactive? What keeps you interested in that?
Well, my father was very. He wasn't active as an environmentalist, but he was an outdoorsman. So I spent a lot of time with him, and he spent a lot of time in the woods. And, so I think that's probably where it was seated. And then as I began teaching, I taught at the elementary and high school level, and I always had an interest in the environment, and I found that kids did also. And so a lot of my teaching slanted in that direction. And then as we became more and more of aware of the impact that we were having on the environment, I began to get students involved in that. And so I guess that's what it stems from. And then I was very active in the early Earth Day celebrations. In fact, in Erie, we had actually probably in the mid-'70s, they're doing Earth Day celebrations at my monastery. I'm a Benedictine sister affiliated with Mount St. Benedict Monastery.
Okay.
And so we began having Earth Day celebrations there, and by the late 70s, we had formed an Erie County Earth Day committee.
And that was through your monastery?
We were one of the founding members, yeah, and then we just collected people, and so we began doing the celebrations in Erie itself. We did them in downtown Erie. We did them in Perry Square. We did them at the Mill Creek Mall. For probably 4 years, we did them at the Civic Center, and they were huge. We would have 4,000 or 5,000 kids come to these Earth Day celebrations. So, and that went on till about probably about 1990, and then we became involved in other things. I became very involved with Earth Force at that time, and we always had a student summit about the same time, so it just became too hard to be both, to be involved with both organizations. So we no longer have a really single Earth Day celebration in Erie, but many groups do things on Earth Day. And then in May, we do a student summit where we celebrate all of the projects that the students that are involved in Earth Action have done, and we do that out here at Presque Isle. This year it'll be on May 11th.
Okay.
So we usually have we're working right now probably with about 16 youth in K through 12, and probably about 600 or 700 of them come to the summit.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really a big turnout.
Yes, you should come and see it. You're invited.
I would love to.
It's a great day. We start with it's here on Presque Isle, so we start with a couple of workshops, and then we all get together for lunch. The workshops are kind of all over the park, as you can imagine. And then we get together for lunch, and then we have big celebration with the kids where every group of students that has done a project does a very brief presentation, and we award certificates. Thank everybody.
I bet that's a really great way for the kids to sort of take pride in their work as well.
Right, and to kind of get an idea of it's not just their school or their after-school group or their neighborhood group that's doing this, but there are kids all over the area that are doing this, and to get an idea of some of the things they're doing. And then that gives them ideas of maybe things they want to try in their community.
Wow, that's great. And kind of going back to, your roots of the interest in the environment, was there one moment, like an aha kind of moment, where you knew that you had to get involved, that you had to do something?
Oh, my. It really, I was involved in the education piece for a long time, but probably when I came back to Erie, I taught outside of Erie.
Okay.
From the 60s to 1975. I came back in 1975 and taught at our high school from 75 to 80. And at that time, there was a big push on, and a lot of attention, not push, but a lot of focus, I guess is the word, on issues related to the lake. And I can't even remember I can't remember the organization, but there was an organization from a state or national organization that came in and was doing workshops on the status of the Great Lakes, and especially Lake Erie. And so I went to those workshops, and then as I heard about this issue or that issue, I started going to these meetings to see what was happening. And gradually, there were like 7 or 8 people who you always saw at those meetings. And we said, we could really do something if we worked together rather than trying to work alone. And so that's when the Erie County Environmental Coalition began. That was like, I think 83 is the year, I'm not sure. So I would say probably when I came back to Erie and got kind of immersed in Great Lakes issues.
Okay.
Even though I was doing educational stuff for that time. That was really when when I saw the need for the kind of the civic involvement that's necessary if we really want to protect our environment. It's fine to learn about it, and it's fine to tell others, but unless you really can motivate people to action, we're not going to get where we need to get.
Okay. And as you had mentioned, I know you did a lot of work in education as well. And how did you tie the two together? Why focus on youth?
Why focus on youth?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, I think the focus on youth is important because if we want to develop, to be good stewards of the environment, then we need to help them become aware and appreciate the environment. Because if you're aware of it and you appreciate it, then you're going to be able to change your practices. But we can't just focus on youth. That's why I try also to do things with the general public. But what's very good with Earth Force and now this Earth Action program is we're working with youth to make change. Now, any group of youth, and it's a change in policy or a change in practice. And a group of youth can't do that by themselves. We teach them to think about who the stakeholders are, who are the people that are going to be concerned about both pro and con with what they're trying to change, and how are they going to bring them to the table. And so it's amazing what a 5th or 6th or 10th grader can do that sometimes, my peers and I can't do, because there are some people that will listen to kids and will have that aha moment because of the earnestness and the persuasiveness of the youngster that they might not have with us. And so the youth, I have found that the youth can become a catalyst for change. So if we help the youth to see the issue and to help them, have the knowledge and understand the pros and the cons, and then we actually have them develop an action plan and what they want to do, they'll pull other people along with them, including their teachers and their faculty.
That's fantastic.